Well, let's talk about the worst WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania IX. Now, I was debating between WrestleMania 9 and WrestleMania 11 which show was worse. I haven't seen WrestleMania 11 yet. I have seen it before, but I might have to rewatch it in order to give you that answer. But for the most part, this show was awful. You had Macho Man, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Jim Ross, three top notch commentators carrying an entire wrestling show. The Caesar's Palace looked beautiful, and I thought to myself, it can't be as bad. At least they tried, unlike 11, where it looks like a piece of crap. We might go to 11 and say that was the worst WrestleMania, but in the meantime, this was so far the worst one I've seen up to this point in this review series. And man, it is just devastating. And honestly, if it wasn't for the finish, I probably would have given it like a D minus. But the ending made it give it an F. Spoiler alert, it's an F. No America the Beautiful this time around. They focused a lot on the commentary entrances, which were cool. I definitely like that they actually put in all the Greek gods gimmick. They committed to it, and that was one of the cooler parts of it. And probably the only good and memorable thing about it, because the other memorable things were awful. Let's talk about Shawn Michaels versus Tatanka for the Intercontinental Championship. At this point, Sensational Sherry got tired of Shawn Michaels after he put her in harm during a match, and then she wanted revenge, so she got the undefeatable Tatanka to fight Shawn Michaels. And around this time, Shawn Michaels gets a new manager, Luna Vachon, who deserves way more than to be in the Legacy Hall of Fame, if I'm being honest. Same for Sherry. Um, Enjoyable match. They actually had good wrestling. This showed that Tatanka is a good wrestler. We already know Shawn Michaels is a great wrestler, but the finish was so stupid. First of all, Shawn Michaels gets counted out, but they forgot all about it. Tatanka grabs Shawn Michaels, puts him in a body slam or something like that. Then the referee goes to try to make a count 1, 2, and then he's like, "Wait, hold on, it was a count out victory. Never mind." Ding, ding, ding. It was so stupid. And then even Macho Man said, like, "What a great match. Too bad about that finish," or something like that. What a moron! Like, whoever this referee was, they deserve to get fired. That's how I see it. What a dumbass. And it's for the Intercontinental Championship. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, you put an Intercontinental Championship match and it has this god awful finish. Moving on to Steiner Brothers beating the Head Shrinkers. This was my match of the night. This was a really good match. The only one without a dumb finish. I like that Alpha put Samu and Fatu. One of them, I believe, is Rikishi. He knocks their heads in. Like, that's the whole gimmick, that they had big heads and they like use them to their advantage. And the Steiner brothers being one of the greatest tag teams of all time. Scott Steiner, Rick Steiner, they did much better work in WCW. It doesn't take away from this match. I really enjoyed it. Great match. Well, not great, but good enough, I should say. But this was like the only match that was entertaining without a dumb finish. And kudos for the Steiner brothers for getting their victory. On to the rest of the show, which was awful. Doink the Clown defeated Crush after a twin Doink the Clown came out and ruined Crush's victory. I like Doink the Clown, the character. His wrestling is actually not that bad, and he maybe could have been a solid Intercontinental Champion around this time, but what can you do? Crush was whatever. He had some okay matches that I've seen in the past, but nothing to run home about. Doink the Clown, entertaining character, but again, this match was bad. Another awful match with two great wrestlers, Bob Backlund versus Razor Ramon. There was a lot of botches. This the time where Razor Ramon was drunk. Maybe that joke was hit close to home, but um, Razor Ramon is just not like feeling it. He's just kind of like all over the place. No Razor's Edge. Bob Backlund kind of carried most of the match, and then to end it all, it just ends in a roll up victory. 1, 2, 3. Razor Ramon gets the victory. Good for Ramon, but bad for Bad Bob Backlund, former WWF champion, one of the longest reigning WWF champions around the time, and he put over Razor Ramon, which is good, but in a bad match. Now, wouldn't be WrestleMania without Hulk Hogan, brother, and the Money Inc. put their WWF Tag Team Championships on the line against the Mega Maniacs, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, and Hulk Hogan, who we haven't seen in a long time. I believe around this time he was trying to make movies that didn't succeed, if I'm being honest. Hulk Hogan, one of the worst actors of all time. Um, and this match was pretty bad. Personally, if they were gonna do this, why didn't they just have the Mega Maniacs just have a clean victory, and then maybe drop him to Money Inc. like the next? They didn't do it in your house yet. They would have dropped them on a Raw exclusive or a King of the Ring, something, just to give the tag team championships some prestige, which were heavily needed because Money Inc. was, while a good tag team, they've kind of overstated their welcome. It just ended a stupid DQ finish just so we can keep Money Inc. on top. And I'm a little shocked that the Mega Maniacs didn't win, even if they were the ones who won by DQ. It says here that Money Inc. were the ones that won by DQ. It was just so convoluted. It was a mess. Yeah, they should have just had a. It was just a way to make Hulk Hogan look strong, but don't worry, he goes on to do something even worse on this show. Yeah, this was a terrible match. At least the Money Inc. Continue their reign, even though maybe they could have like lost him and then drop him right back to Money Inc. and then they do Money Inc. versus Steiner something. People have clamored that it should have been Money Inc. versus the Steiners. Every time I watch a rebooking show, that's the match they go with, which would have been better, if you ask me. This was just embarrassing. But not as embarrassing as Lex Luger versus Mr. Perfect, the narcissist. The only thing memorable about this was them hot bikini models with Lex Luger in the entrance, and then Macho Man going, "Hey ladies, have you heard of the Macho Man?" That was very entertaining. But man, this Mr. Perfect basically wrestled circles around Lex Luger. And it was kind of like, I know that Mr. Perfect and Lex Luger were good friends, and they were gonna basically help put over Lex Luger, but he looked like awful, and which is so ridiculous because in WCW he had amazing matches. I don't know what is it with Lex Luger in the WWF. He was just terrible, and this was a proof of it. And then even the roll up finish was so dumb. Lex Luger rolls up perfect, and then the ropes are, or Perfect's legs are hitting the ropes, and you can clearly see it. Another stupid referee. Is it the same guy? Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3, Luger wins, and then Mr. Perfect beats him up in the backstage area. Uh, can it get worse than this? Yes, it can. Because we move on to one of the worst matches of all time. Undertaker defeated Giant Gonzalez in another DQ finish. So the story was that Undertaker had a feud with Harvey Whippleman, but Kamala was the main Whippleman guy, and then he got taken out because they beat him so many times to death. We move on to Giant Gonzalez, formerly known as El Gigante in WCW, and they give him the stupidest naked man outfit. It was so stupid, and then they tried, but like, this is the modern day Kali. El Gigante, Giant Gonzalez, you just did not deserve to be in the ring. I'm sorry, dude. You just suck. And this was a proof of it. It ended in a DQ, and to this day, Undertaker hates this match. It's probably his least favorite WrestleMania match of all time. Rightfully so. Um, Undertaker wins by DQ, which questions whether or not he was, like, the streak broke by mistake, if you think about it. So this makes this match even worse. This to me is Undertaker's worst WrestleMania match of all time. It tops those like outdated um matches after the streak broke with Roman and who was it? Shane McMahon, which are okay matches if you ask me. Then we move on to the main event. Oh wait, not the main event. Remember, there's another match. Bret Hart versus Yokozuna. Now this had potential of being kind of like what Cody and Roman were at WrestleMania 39. Ironically, uh, 30 years later. um, Yokozuna has a solid match with Bret Hart, but it ends with like Bret Hart about to hit the sharpshooter until Mr. Fuji throws some dust in him. Yokozuna takes advantage, and Yokozuna wasn't the great wrestler, but he was a good giant, a properly built giant, and Bret Hart carried him to this. Shows you how great Bret Hart really was, and Yokozuna wins, making him like this unstoppable giant. And I was like, okay, pretty good way to build up Yokozuna. Granted, the rest of the year was gonna suck because Yokozuna is not a good enough champion because he wasn't really famous for good matches. He was just mainly famous for squashing people, but not as good of a squasher as Hulk Hogan because I think before the match started, there was an interview of Hulk Hogan challenging one of the guys. Like, I challenged the winner of the WWF Championship match. Hulk Hogan just comes in, makes his challenge. They push Bret Hart to the side. Hulk Hogan beats Yokozuna, body slam, leg drop, 22 seconds. The worst WWF Championship match. Hulk Hogan is now your new WWF champion. And if it wasn't for this match, I would have given this a D minus because at least, you know, it looked cool. The commentary was good. It was nice to see some of these legends. Some finishes would have been better, but man, this took a toll in me, and that's why I'm gonna give this show an F. I already spoiled it in the beginning. I can't get worse than that. Like, this was just an awful show, which was hidden by an amazing arena, one of my favorite arenas to look at, and a great commentary. How do you have Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jim Ross, and Randy Savage, three guys that are not in the ring, carrying the show? Macho Man should have been on the ring, but he chose to be commentary, or they chose to make him a commentary. I don't know if he was hurt or what was the status on him, but man, even the Macho Man was like, this is embarrassing. Ooh, yeah. Or more like, ooh, no. Anyways, let's move on to WrestleMania 10. Take care, everybody.